Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Ask Engineer. It's me, Lady Ada, with me, Mr. Lady Ada.
Hello.
And we're here at the Adafruit factory in downtown Manhattan, where we do all of that manufacturing that you just saw. The advanced manufacturing, it's here, it's happening, we're doing it. Electronics and goodies and more are all tested, shipped, manufactured, shipped, video tutorialized, coded, and packaged and everything here. The people are at home snoozing safely in their bed, while we are going to do 1 hour of Ask Engineer, the only and longest running live engineering show with advice at the end. We got tons of stuff, including some it's not out yet, products, videos, retro, not quite chip shortage, but close, and more.
Yeah, a little bit of everything tonight.
It's like a bento box of delicious electronicsy goodies.
Of goods.
So let's kick it off. What's the code? What's on tonight's show?
On tonight's show, the code is... Cold? Yeah, it's going to get cold.
It is cold.
It's going to get cold if you don't use the code. Multiplexer is the code, 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up till 11:59 p.m. or until I remember to turn off the code. We had some live shows. We'll talk about the show and tell. We just finished that up a few moments ago. We're going to do some time traveling, look around the world, makers, hackers, artists, and engineers, news, and more. Some events coming up. Talk about those. Chip shortage. Sometimes we have new chips that are not available, and then sometimes we have some repeat customers, or not customers in our case. We'll talk about that tonight. Some retro tech. That's right. We have a lot of interesting photos that we're going to share from consumer electronic past, possible futures that never happened. From the mailbag, we'll read your letters to us. Some Python on hardware news. We've got big news around the Pico W, and also there's an event coming up. Talk about that. We got some Made in New York City factory footage. Made in New York, some footage from around here. We got some 3D printing. We've got Ion MPI this week. It is Sorcom. It's brought to you by DigiKey. We've got new products. We've got Top Secret. We're going to answer your questions. We hang out on Discord, adafruit.it/Discord. That's where you want to be to ask the questions towards the end. You can join all 35,000 of us anytime, 24/7. But towards the end of the show is when we answer questions. All that and more on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer.
Ooh.
Okay, Lady Ada, so pay some bills. Code is Multiplexer. What do they get when they start loading up the cart?
We have the freebies all back. I know everyone was waiting for all the freebies, but $99 or more, you get a free Proto half-size breadboard. This lovely white PCB looks just like a breadboard, and it's great for taking your projects and making them permanent. We see them in guides all the time. So people post projects, it's like, that's a permanent.
Make your projects permanent-ish.
Yeah, and it's just like a fun little freebie. Put it in your desk drawer. You'll use it eventually.
Yes.
$149 or more, you will still get a pink PCB KB2040, an RP2040 based microcontroller board with castellated pads, USB-C, STEMMA QT, lots of flash memory, and it's ready to be used for all sorts of projects, not just keyboards, but it does do a very good job at keyboards. Also a good Pro Micro update if you can't get Pro Micros, because there's no Atmegas.
Nope. We'll talk about that soon.
We'll talk about that soon. $199 or more, you get free UPS ground shipping in the continental United States. Very handy if you want to make sure that your stuff gets there and has trackable, insured shipping. We have the little, do you want to go the overhead? We'll show the little truck.
Well, yeah. I was organizing some
stuff. And
this is what you want.
Yeah, and this is actually this is like a real, if you
pull it back. Oh, no, you.
Yay. Look at us. Okay. Anyways, thank you. And then $299 or more, you get Circuit Playground Bluefruit. We're still out of the Circuit Playground Expresses. See previous note about chips not being available. We do have the NRF52840s. This is a Bluetooth low energy Circuit Playground Express. It's great. That's Circuit Playground shape board. It's got sensors and buttons, and BLE works great with Circuit Python and Arduino, and there's even a little bit of MakeCode support.
Okay. And just a reminder, if you're looking to get Raspberry Pis, we usually do a drop on Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes Fridays. Make sure you have two-factor authentication. And I don't know if the folks that have been trying to get around stuff like this so they can sell things on eBay for exorbitant prices, but we found a person who was trying to buy lots of Raspberry Pis. They succeeded a couple times, but we caught them, and now they can't buy Raspberry Pi. So that means there's
They can't buy nothing from us.
So that means there's more Raspberry Pis for others.
We're always looking out for you.
Yeah. So, we were debating today. Do we tell the person that, hey, we caught what you were trying to do? Good try. Or do we just not tell them and just have them waste a bunch of time and be frustrated? I don't know what I'm going to do yet. But anyways, we're constantly updating our systems and more. There's automated tools. There's bots. There's a little bit of everything and everyone trying to buy things that are scarce and then sell them for giant prices. We didn't raise our prices. We didn't do anything other than try to make it fair for all the makers out there who need Raspberry Pis for the project and other parts and more. So we will keep at it. Better luck next time, dude. Live shows.
We're doing one right now. This is live.
Yeah, it is. We had our live series of shows. There are lots of things that we do each week. Show and Tell was just a few moments ago.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Lots of keyboards.
Yeah.
Pumpkins.
Melissa showed off. I think this is, I have to pick a favorite each week, and they're all my favorite. But I think this week, the one that, because we're going to show Noah and Pedro's video with the ear, and we saw JP's keyboard. Mark had some pumpkin updates. So this week, my pick is Melissa's project. So one of the things that's really hard to convey to folks is like, what is this machine learning thing? Because it's a lot of nonsense. One of the projects and one of the demos that we have shows some of the fun capabilities, and there's a lot of projects, and it doesn't have to be connected to the internet because sometimes that stuff gets creepy. So this one is using our Braincraft hat, and now it's on Bullseye. Is that the name of the update to Raspberry Pi?
Basically 64-bit Bullseye is now supported, so it's going to be a little faster.
Yeah.
And it's the latest Raspberry Pi. I mean, it's just, Linux is what it is. Whenever there's an update, and there's a lot of updates, things maybe stop working, and so we have to go back and readjust them. But Melissa got the latest version up and running again.
Yeah, so one of the things you can do is load it up, and you can, one of the things I like to do is hold it up to like some Wikipedia pages of like animals. It'll be like zebra and panda, and you can also show it household objects, and it'll recognize it. So watch the video, and it's a really neat example of what machine learning can do, and it doesn't have to be connected to the internet. That's kind of the whole point, on the edge, as they say. And one of the things that we were talking about, I think it'd be kind of neat to put this in like a stuffed animal or something, like a teddy bear, because you can have the text pipe out and talk, and you can even have a little servo do stuff. So anyways, you can make your own Teddy Ruxpin for those.
Yeah, we designed the Braincraft hat. I like really thought about it, like what kind of projects do people want to do and make it so it's extensible.
Yeah.
And we actually still have some in stock.
And that goes with the make robot friend, not robot enemy vibe, which is what we're all about. Okay. Next up, from Desk of Lady Ada. On Sundays, we do the Desk of Lady Ada. We have part 1 and part 2. What did you show off in part 1 this week?
Okay. Oh,
it was LCDs galore.
It's a lot of it. There was a lot of TFTs. Yes, we got TFT prices have come back down to be a little bit more reasonable, which means that we got a lot of samples for TFT alternatives and some like capacitive touch versions of TFTs. And so we went through and we showed them off all the different sizes and interfaces and connection methods that are so popular with TFT displays, both small and up to, I think we had a 10-inch display as the largest one.
Okay. And then we do the Great Search. And that's where Lady Ada uses her power of engineering to help you. Yes, you find the parts that you need. What did you help people find this week?
It's funny. This was one that I didn't realize. I was like, I can't believe I haven't done this before. So all of our Raspberry Pi bonnets and hats use this standard 2x20 connector. And we really like the SMT version because we don't have to use a selective solder machine. It gets placed by hand or pick and place if it's on tape and reel, and then it goes through the oven. So it's a really great way of making accessories for the Raspberry Pi that are no solder. Like people can get them, they just plug them right in. And so I showed how to find them in stock at DigiKey, and we found a place has a whole bunch of them. It does have little nubbins, but otherwise it's a good alternative if you want to make Raspberry Pi hats that are solder free, and I think that's kind of the future. Like, people don't really like to solder.
Okay. And then on Tuesdays we do JP's product pick of the week. Here is this week's highlight.
It is the TCA 8418 keypad matrix driver and GPIO expander. Here's an example of using it with telephone style keypads. I decided to solder the board, 4 columns and 2 of the row pins, and then the extra 2 I have running, since they're on the other side of the board, using wires there. But that gives you this sort of neat little keypad that you can use for different projects. I have it plugged in over I2C into, this is our Trinky, and plug that into a USB hub, so we can imagine that's the side of your laptop or some other computer that you want to plug into. Now I have immediate access to this cute little keypad. So here I'm just going to put in a comment there, and then you can see I can get 1, 2, 3, A, 4, 5, 6, B, 7, 8, 9, C, star, 0, pound, D. It is the TCA 8418 keypad matrix and GPIO breakout.
Okay, and you can join JP's workshop tomorrow. Friday is Deep Dive with Tim. Fridays at 2 p.m., where you get to learn all about the innards of CircuitPython and more. Tim's an excellent instructor, so do check it out.
Yay!
And it's long form video, and when you're learning to code, it's very helpful, and you can ask questions real time. All right, time travel. Here's when we take a look around past, present, future. We don't have a song for this yet.
Well, there's the new Quantum Leap, so maybe,
Yeah.
now you've got competition.
I'm not, I ride or die for Bacula.
You're a Bacula guy.
No, I think
But you don't like Enterprise.
No, I don't.
But you do like Quantum Leap.
I did, back when it came out, when it was Bacula, because they had a moral message, and it also was trying to righting some wrong. I think the latest Quantum Leap missed a huge opportunity, which is it could have had 80s themes and 90s themes, and it could have been they downloaded into one of the Corys, or it could have been every single, I downloaded into Eddie Vedder. They could have really pop cultured it. They could have.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been neat, but I'm sure it's a nightmare with all the rights that you need. There was an old show, WKRP in Cincinnati, and I don't think they can play it anymore because it used to be about radio and records, and I don't think they can.
Oh, you think they didn't get clearances?
I think not anymore. I think they're
not valid.
This is a problem. Anyways, see, that was like time traveling. So we're gonna be figuring out if we're gonna just bump AdaBox the next round of them to 2023. We still have a little bit more time. We might try to get a holiday box out, but we'll let everyone know, and this will be a time that we send an email if we do that. Don't worry. We still have everyone signed up. We don't charge until we ship. And one of the things that we would be able to do is get to the ones sooner. So it's getting to the point where we can get 5,000 of something. It's just hard to get it all at once, and AdaBox requires it all at once. So stay tuned. We'll know probably by the end of the month-ish. But, in an ideal world, when we can get more things, we have a Halloween box and a, holiday edition box. So what we're thinking is it might just end up being next year, all 4 boxes. But we'll see. We'll let you know. That's the update for that. So other time travel. This is kind of like a site update thing, but I don't know what to say. I put it in time travel. So back in the day, I used to do vector graphics, and our team was like, hey, we have videos on our site. Wouldn't it be cool if we did animated SVGs? So if you go to our website, that's an animated SVG, and I zoom into it quite a bit. I wanted to do this as I screen captured it as a video, because I just wanted to show, you can see how the photos are pixelated, but the animation is, and it's not a GIF, it's not gigantic, and it's not a movie. It's an animated SVG. Works across all browsers. We tried it on a Raspberry Pi, tried it on a bunch of different things, and it worked. So I thought what I would do is go over and just show you on the website. And this is kind of like us trying to just. I know there's some websites that probably have done this, but I wanted to show that we're trying to push the boundaries of some of these new tech frameworks and more. So this is on our site right now.
Okay.
And you can see it's here, and do a page weight of it, or just poke around, and then here when you zoom in, you
enhance.
See how you can see this gets blurry, but then this stays sharp, and it also it stays the right size.
It always resizes because it's SVG, it's vector.
It can, yeah, it can. Oh. So let me boop, 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 boop. So anywho, check it out. It's kind of cool. We like this stuff. So we're playing around with that. Next up, in time travel land, Hackaday, my old job. I have nothing to do with this right now, but so that's my disclaimer. Other than Adafruit's a media sponsor for SuperCon 6. It's in November, and we're going to be a media sponsor, which means like we talk about it, and then we're going to send them some sponsorship money, and then we're going to send them something for the goodie bag, I think.
Yeah.
So it's the 2022 Hackaday Super Conference. There's a lot of folks that we know that are going to be there, so check it out. And then we have a new Adafruit Learning System weekly update, and this week, so every week when we do something really cool and interesting in the learning system, or we pick a guide or something going on, especially features, we talk about it. So this week, our favorite new guide was kind of busting the myth. We got to the bottom of this one on was it possible to cheat in chess with a haptic device that would Morse code the chess moves to you. So immediately we got blamed for all the chess cheating and poker cheating. And
also apparently like 30 hospital visits a month.
Yeah,
because people think that this is actually
so some of the gadget sites are like, by the way, if you were to insert this in yourself, make sure there's a flange. Just like, okay, you know what? No.
Why do you guys always think about inserting everything?
Why is everyone a cop?
Yeah.
Anyways, so anyhow,
don't insert any electronics in the learning system. Or eat them.
Yeah, I don't want to put that as a banner across the entire site and everything. This is why, like, do you want... Anyways.
Do you want to have that? Not for insertion or consumption.
Yeah. So anyways, you can check out some of the latest guides from the learning system. And then when we add new features, this is the weekly place that you can figure it out. And we do have some cool new features coming on the learn system soon. So, okay. Next up is everyone's favorite segment. Okay, so the current winner, the weekly champion of not delivering chips to us is Microchip. Sorry, Microchip.
I mean,
I'm not dunking.
We are getting some, but it is.
There are some that they're leading the pack on consistently not being able to
leading the pack.
Not leading the pack. So here's the one that we're not going to get for 2 years. SAMD 51.
The SAMD 51 G19, 2-year lead time. This is getting a little bit ridiculous. But you know, I just saw this because I got a notice from them. We do have orders booked, but what's interesting is many other chips that we were unable to get are now available, and it's, I think, interesting that the microchip chips, especially like the SAMD 21 and 51 and some other components, the lead times are still stretching out, you know, basically 3 years total from the beginning. So not sure what's going on there.
Here's my question and suggestion. So wait, I'm going to make a suggestion, then I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So, okay, it says alternative product inventory. I'm going to get to that in a second. But
there wasn't any,
Yeah, but here's what I think at this point. I think Microchip should, you know, they're on social media. They have all the same tools we all have. Just say like, hey, here's where the chips are going. Here's why it's 2 years away. Here's why they weren't available.
That's really long.
At this point, so like, yeah, we all kind of like suffered through the last couple of years. It's coming up on like year 3 now. But at this point, you know, we're kind of getting chips from everybody else. So it would be interesting to know is like, is it automotive? Because that's the first thing we heard. Is it something else? Is it military? What is it?
Well, I mean, there's some chips that have definitely got end of line because they're like, look, the fab isn't using this process anymore. I could get that, but this, I don't completely understand the 2-year lead time.
Like anything is okay.
After a 2-year lead time,
there's just no information, and so that's it. So just getting back to something it said. This is my question for you, Lady, as our public service. If you were designing something that used to use a SAMD, what is these? 51s. If you were using a SAMD 51 in the past, what would you use instead right now?
Well, it's not a complete identical, you know, matchup, but the RP2040 is the closest thing, and it doesn't have as many peripherals. I mean, the microchip SAMD51 has great peripherals, but at this point, you know, you can pretty much get the ESP32 and you can get, family of chips, and you can get the RP2040. STM32s even I'm starting to see. I'm starting to see
So I just said that in the chat. The STMs are coming in.
I'm actually starting to see like STM F1s.
I would have said the STMs were going to be the ones that were going to be the laggy ones.
I thought they would be the laggiest, but actually the STM F1s and F4s and F3s, I'm starting to see them come back into existence. We're still getting some teensy, so NXP Freescale is able to get some parts, but like, I'm getting chips from Analog. We got, the AD chips and Maxim. Yeah. I'm getting parts in. I mean, those are not microcontrollers. They're
Here's the
chips.
other thing.
Nordic has never had. Actually, Nordic has been able to supply almost consistently throughout this entire.
If Microchip's watching this, just send us a video. We'll play it on chip shortage, or you can send us a reel and we'll put you on the real world. We have a segment.
At STM32F7 series, though, you're still screwed,
okay.
And a lot of FPGAs are still screwed. But I'm actually shocked. So the STM, if you can use the STM32 F4 series, there's a lot that are very compatible with the microchip. But yeah, unfortunately, right now, I think the thing I'm seeing most people do is just go straight to the RP2040.
Reason 137 that we did CircuitPython, because the core can go across all the different processors, because there's a lot of different ones that are out there.
It's a bummer because I really
aren't available and what are available.
I really, really love and loved the SAM. When the SAM one came out, I was just like, this is my favorite chip. And we made so much hardware with it. And, I'm just...
Yeah.
It's a little crushing.
Okay, so tune in next week. Maybe we'll do microchip again, but whatever is available, we do real world, and whatever isn't,
I just wanted to
microchip.
warn people that I'm seeing some at Megas, but there's still... This was still a little shocking. I was like, 2 years, really?
And that chip shortage. Okay, just a little bit of a reminder before we go off to the next segment. The code is multiplexer. Let's do a mailbag.
Letters. We get letters. We get tweets and we get emails. Your comments via RSS.
All right, this week, this email that came to us says, just thank you for quick shipping and awesome maker parts. We'll be back maybe a lot lol. Keep up the awesome work, all of it, the products, the custom boards, the drivers, and programming, all of it. You set the bar and rock it doing it. Thank you. Cool. Next up, retro. All right, so we have a bunch of photography and videos of retro hardware, so let's take a journey. And before I tell anyone what this is, guess what this is in the chats, and then at the end I'll tell you what it is, so you'll have a few seconds. But is this from the future?
God, it looks like a rendering.
Is it from the past? Is this one of those dolly things that says like 90s console that never came out?
This looks like something that's
Is it a cable box?
It's a rendering from like a 1980s like demo reel from like SIGGRAPH. This is like SIGGRAPH 92 era.
The new SGI.
No, it's not the product. It's like literally the thing that's rendered.
Yeah.
Look, it's got RF output, so that does date it.
Yeah. So let's see if anyone knows what this is.
Even I don't know what this is. But this is, by the way, some incredible 80s style.
Yeah.
I mean, this
is like Lawnmower Man kid's toy. All right.
I mean, it's the thing that looks like it's like a handheld joystick. It's got like these flanges on it. Like the flanges are totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
And the grid, the gridding is like a very
all right.
Lawnmower Man.
So here it is. This is a future that never happened. It's called the ViewMaster Interactivision. This was introduced in 1988 and released in USA. It came with Sesame Street games, and it featured the Muppet Show characters in a Disney game, Disney Cartoon Arcade. It went on sale for $120, and that was 33 years ago, and it came from ViewMaster Group. Who's ViewMaster? These folks. This could have been our future, where ViewMaster, and if you think about it, why isn't ViewMaster making VR goggles? Why aren't
I
they
know.
doing? Why aren't they doing? You know, why aren't they meta?
So they had games, but then was it
Like-
ever sold? Sold? Like people actually bought it?
They
or
had
no?
Kermit the Frog, the Great Gonzo,
It actually reminds me a little bit of that. What's that robot friend you have?
2XL.
The two said like because it's like it's VHS. So it's like it's a video 2XL.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Incredible.
look at this, and that's retro. Okay, Python on hardware time. Python on hardware time. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, Python on hardware time. Okay, we're going to do this in two parts, Lady Ada. First, you're going to talk about what's latest and greatest with PicoW, and then I'm going to talk about an upcoming event.
Okay, everybody, it's that time. You've been waiting. You've been bugging us, and now it's time for you to step up and try out the latest builds for CircuitPython. We have a couple builds that are after version 8 beta 1, and I know beta 2 is being worked on and probably will be released the next couple days. We now have TLS support as well as private certificates and self-signing and private like client-side certificate loading support for the PicoW. So the only thing that doesn't work is making a HTTPS server, but that also doesn't work on the MicroPython. So we're not too worried about it. But if you want to connect to services with TLS, which you should, if you want to use MQTT, if you want to use NTP, if you want to use requests, if you want to do anything on the internet with the PicoW and CircuitPython, now is your time. Adafruit IO works. We got a demo of that tested. Liz checked it out, and we're working on getting the Azure demo working. There's some typo or something. And we're going to add some documentation, but if you have used the ESP32 series, that same code is going to work on the PicoW, and you get all like 320 drivers. You get all the example code. People should be able to take our projects
just
and
works, and now it's online.
It's now it's online.
All right.
So please try it, and if you have issues, please open. If you have bug reports, open an issue on the CircuitPython repo, because we are now in like advanced user bug reporting mode. Like we want people who really know this stuff to try it out and let us know what doesn't work with example code that we can replicate, and then we can fix it. But Jepler's done an amazing job. He's between the keyboards and this, he's kind of alternating.
Take one of your past CircuitPython sensor projects, make it Wi-Fi, and send the data to Adafruit IO.
Yeah.
Play around with it. All that stuff now can be online. So, gigantic newsletter. Anne was on a video cast. There's a talking Mac with CircuitPython. Tons of
There's
new
just the Glow
shows.
or project.
Yeah, there's a bunch going on.
RGB matrices.
If it blinks, if it charges, if it lights up, if it's
Lars.
a sensor, if it talks,
If it's a skull.
it's powered by Python. So there's also a bunch of events coming up, but this week, the event that I'm going to talk about is the one that you're going to be doing, Lady Ada. So,
Oh,
Espressive DevCon 22.
I gotta do that.
You gotta do it. It's online, and it's October 19th to 20th from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. CEST time, and they have a bunch of stuff going on. You'll be able to ask questions. You'll be able to hear speakers. It's the first official dev conference made by developers for developers. It's a 2-day online conference that brings you all the stuff from Espressive. You can look at the website, and of course, the reason we're talking about it. Well, we talk about it anyways, but
Yeah, we talk
More's
about.
going on.
I'll be talking about CircuitPython 8. A big part of it is adding support for ESP32, the Wi-Fi workflow, which I'll be demoing. We have a guide for it, and also just showing off all the different hardware we have, why we are using CircuitPython, some of the benefits of using that for your IoT projects,
yeah.
et cetera, et cetera.
And then, I'll just toss in one note here. The person who, thank you, who said the following. Someone nice. Getting CircuitPython 8 on PicoW is 30 seconds and awesome. The hardest part is just dragging the UF2 over. This is so cool.
I know, 'cause you have to
that
hold down
in
the big
30
button.
seconds, you're doing like internet.
All of our, and it's like we want to
IoT
make it
stuff.
so whatever, you're using ESP32, S2, or C3,
Yeah,
or
and
whatever.
this is all live stream, by the way. This is going to be all live.
Expressive,
You're
all
going
works.
to be able to read all and see all this stuff. So, anyways, this is delivered, this newsletter, to your inbox every single week. Go to adafruitdaily.com where you sign up. It's completely not related to your adafruit.com account. Separate website because we don't like spam either. We don't give out any of the email addresses. We don't do anything like that. That's why we have a separate site. Okay, open source hardware time. It is Open Source Hardware Month, Lady Ada. And on
Is that so?
OSHWA.org, they have a list of things if you wanted to have your own event, do's and don'ts, on open source hardware for the month. I was interested to see how we're doing as far as
How are we doing?
as open source hardware projects. So there is a total of let me zoom in here.
Yeah, zoom in here.
1,880 projects are certified open source hardware.
Okay, get close to 2,000.
And if you look at Adafruit, type Adafruit,
Type Adafruit.
we have 522. A little over 27% of all of the open source hardware projects are from Adafruit. And so even though we get mean emails from dudes who say, I don't think you're open source at all, I've heard that you've used Windows or something. So there's dudes like that. But if you want to certify your hardware and demonstrate, show your intention, you can do things like certify it. So that's what we do. So every single one of these that we've submitted has all the files, all the source code, all those things. We're currently in the #1 position of companies. So if you want to support companies that do open source hardware, you can buy stuff from Adafruit. That is, you could say,
And we're adding more every week.
yeah, you could say, I'm going to support companies that do open source software and hardware. And then you can go to the OSHWA site and say, well, which ones do that? And then you can look up us, you can look up others and see who does. I guess who doesn't, too. Okay, next up. Speaking of, we have over 2,745 guides, Lady Ada. What's on the big board this week on learn.adafruit.com?
We'll get to 2750 by next week. Okay,
Yeah.
a lot of updates. Arduino CircuitPython guide. Liz spent a day and went through all the feedbacks, fixed a bunch of typos and reviewed the guide, and updated it for some recent CircuitPython improvements. The 128 by 64 OLED Featherwing guide. So we keep telling people it's a Featherwing. You use it with a feather, you put it on top of a feather. That's what it's for. And then people don't listen to us and they're like, anyways, I'm going to use this as like on a breadboard or as a STEMMA QT accessory. And it's really not designed for that, and it was really not meant for that, but people do it anyways. And so we wanted to update the guide to tell people how you could do it if you wanted to. You do have to wire up the reset button. It's not optional, but people don't realize. They don't realize that like the STEMMA QT is a client side. It's not the, it's meant to go out, not go in. But you can use it. We'll just tell you how to do it. Liz wrote she's writing a couple of PyLeap clue projects for a clue pack that's coming out shortly, and for workshops. And this one is how to make a custom badge. And then this uses PyLeap and Glider. So what you do is PyLeap is how you download the project, but then of course you want to customize the badge, right? You want to have your name, where you work, maybe a description of you, your pronouns. You would then use File Glider to connect and then like live edit over Bluetooth your code. So this is kind of neat because it's using two apps.
Okay. Next up.
We also got an update to the iShootout guide. Phil B every year looks at all the digital eyeball projects available. And this year I think he looked at the werewolf. There's like a werewolf with LED eye or TFT eyes, and he just sort of showed how they did it and how it's not nearly as good as his code, basically. So check that out. And then using servos with CircuitPython Arduino, this guide got whippered. It got snapped. You can now use servos within Whippersnapper, and Eva kindly added a new page to this guide on how you can use servos with Whippersnapper. So there's no coding at all, and you can control the servo and automate it with Whippersnapper actions on Adafruit IO, so a great internet-connected motor. And you had two new guides, in addition to that clue guide that Liz did. Human ear iPhone case from Noah and Pedro. We always do weird, creepy projects every year. We'll show the video. And Matt D, who is a contributor, wrote up a feather freezer door alarm. Matt works at volunteers or
like a food
works
pantry.
at a food pantry, and made them a freezer door alarm in case the door actually didn't get closed, which could ruin all the food inside. Just showed how to do that with sensors and electronics from Adafruit.
I'm going to say that ears are not creepy and weird because, there's billions of them.
No, but
And
on your phone, it's a little...
But you see people on their phone, they have ears.
Yeah,
It's
but
one of the things
this
that's-
looks like that mouse that has the ear growing out of it.
That's what it looks like. You're right. You know what? That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
But they're we've grown an ear on a mouse, yeah. Okay,
terrible.
Let's do some factory footage. It's 3D printing time. So we're gonna do 2 videos back to back. We're gonna show you that that not creepy ear. And someone in the chat just mentioned, it's handy because you can put a spare earring on
That's
there.
right.
Yeah. And then we'll do a ghostly speed up.
This Halloween season, you can 3D print a weird yet functional accessory for your mobile phone. Turn some heads and raise some eyebrows with this 3D printed earphone case. This is actually a useful add-on for pop sockets, so this provides a better grip that's both ergonomic and slightly creepy. Pop sockets allow you to rotate your phone while holding onto it, and it doubles as a kickstand. The ear add-on can be attached using your favorite adhesive like double-sided tape. This flexible filament is designed for prosthetics and comes in a variety of skin tones. The ear and phone case are 3D printed separately, so there's no need for support material. Our pop socket came with a sticky backing that adheres really well to the TPU filament. You can get the files for free by heading over to the Adafruit Learning System. An additional cover goes over the base of the pop socket to make it match the rest of the phone. Then the handle can be press fitted on top. Now we can add a piece of double-sided tape to attach the ear. Because it's flexible, you can add some personality by accessorizing the earlobe with an earring. The phone case features a cutout for the camera array, and the edges grip over the screen to provide protection. We hope this inspires you to get creative with flexible filaments to make weirdly practical projects.
Yeah, and just one little note. This was that Onion article I was talking about. So that phone pairs well with this. This is when Tim Cook first took the helm of Apple, and everyone's like, what is going to happen? They're going to like ruin Apple. And it was like, interim Apple chief under fire after unveiling grotesque new MacBook. And it says you can regularly douse it with lye to keep the odor down. And then you could feed this the hideous new device. And you could feed it CDs at the time. And so...
and it's sweated.
Yeah, it has its own digestive system. So, anyways, that's how we're rolling here. Don't forget, you can learn how to make all this stuff and more, including yours for your phone, every Wednesday at 11 with Noam Pedro at 3D Hangouts. Okay, let's do Eye on MPI.
Eye on MPI.
All right, this week's Eye on MPI is Surcom.
Yeah.
Lady Ada, what is the new product of the week
Okay.
introduced by you?
Yeah. So, we're back doing the weekly Eye on MPIs. We did 2 last week. This one we're back to doing just 1. But I really like this one. This is from Surcom. And I actually was going to show, like, they have a new IoT service, but actually maybe I might do that in a couple weeks because I actually really just liked this Onyx USB cellular dongle, which is from Surcom, and it's actually kind of a cooperation between Surcom and Quectel, because inside is a Quectel cellular modem, but they made this really nice little dongle. It's like really beautifully designed. It's got this like cool like angular design. This is what it looks like. You can kind of see on the back there's this cellular module. And on the top, there's a couple components, power supply, a SIM card holder. It's actually not like technically that complicated because the modules do come with USB interfacing. So there's no microcontroller. You're actually connecting like directly to the cellular module. But that said, like it's in a really nice case. It's got the SIM holder. It's got little antenna add-ons. And it's got a USB plug that just like thunks right into your board. So this is the cellular module inside. It's the Quectel LTE EG25. Again, like, for basically the price of the module, you can now get it like with the power supply, SIM card holder, everything all together, ready to go. It's LTE Cat 4, so it can do like pretty fast upload and download. You'll have to have a SIM card that, of course, has that kind of high-speed internet connectivity. But it's also good for IoT projects because it's got worldwide LTE, UMTS, HSPA, and it's still got GSM, GPRS edge coverage. So you've got like, it isn't got like GSM2, 2G, 3G, 4G, and LTE. So it's got like very, very wide coverage worldwide. And it looks like it's also, so this does not have the GNSS receiver, I don't believe, but maybe they'll make a version that does. But again, it can go very, very fast, but it's also very inexpensive. And what I thought was interesting about this, and what I really liked, is like even the advertising photo for it says like, hey, you just plug this into your single board computer, and now trying to integrate cellular into a board is a real pain. You can do everything over USB and just use like a USB modem driver. Now you have a fully cellular connected IoT device, and it's like no soldering, no design. You just plug it in and go. So I actually got this set up and working on my computer in like 15 minutes or less. It was really easy. So when I bought it, it actually came with, I also got the Surcom SIM card, which I think is a global SIM card. Check about how many messages and how many megabytes. I think this is actually IoT based, so it's not like for data streaming video. It's for like sending data to MQTT. You register at Surcom's website. You do have to add a credit card, so do that. Once you've registered, you can now activate it within your console, and there's this whole control console. What I thought was interesting in addition to this is that there's also for everything that they do, there's a web interface, but they also provide a backend CLI interface. So if you're using this to like deploy, 5,000, whatever, soda can, dispenser, monitoring systems and scooters, digital signage, whatever, and you want to manage them remotely, you don't have to use the console. You can actually automate everything using their CLI. And it's kind of something I noticed is that there's always an easy way to do it, like using their web interface, and there was also an advanced way to use it that was more powerful, using scriptable tools. They do have multiple different dongles. The only one I used is the Onyx LTE dongle. One thing I liked is that they have the device manual, which I'll talk about in a bit. So the cellular modules are not just modems; they actually have a lot of stuff built into them, like an MQTT peripheral or FTP, TCP/IP or HTTPS. So you don't even need to have the stack on the device. You can actually use the stack on the cellular module, not on the computer. And they have all that available, which is really nice. You don't have to sign an NDA, which I really dug. And then for Linux, it shows up as a COM port. It is a composite CDC. So on Windows, you have to install a driver. I'm on Windows. I installed it. It worked. And then it shows up as a modem. And then you get the 3 COM ports. Like, again, I don't believe this one, I don't think has the NMEA, the GPS. It still shows up, but there's no data that comes out of it. And you've got the AT port, which is the control port, and data, I think DM is for the data port. And then it also shows up as a plain, like, USB modem. And then what's nice is all I had to do is, like, turn on roaming, and then I just selected the Sorcom, and, like, I unplugged Wi-Fi, and I disconnected Ethernet, and I was on the internet through the cellular connection. So it's that easy. It's really fast, very simple. And so, especially with silicon shortages, if it's like you want to add cellular connectivity, but it's impossible to get cellular modules, or they're constantly changing, or whatever, don't make a custom board. You may not even need an M3 module. Just plug in USB. It just works, and it's plenty fast. For Linux, what I thought was really nice is they have like a shell script that is for Raspberry Pi, and you basically, it's very, I think they borrowed this like we did from Pimeroni, where it's like setting up something takes so many steps that it's easier just to give somebody a shell script, tell them to sudo curl it, and run it, and it'll install everything, and then you basically have an interface that is basically internet connectivity. But again, through the cellular module, it's like the easiest, fastest, no solder way to add to single board computers. And if you have a Windows running single board computer, you use the other driver. Linux single board computer, you use this. Either way, now you've got worldwide connectivity. And I did check the AT port, and like you can absolutely use it. And yes, that's the ICC-ID, but don't worry, I'm gonna cut it in half in a moment, anyways, because I'm done using it. And you can use this with they had a really nice tutorial that'll be linked from the blog post, where you can use it as a low-level modem, right? So you have it as a modem, and then you connect to the internet service, and then you have to like have all of your TCP/IP packets go through it. Or what you can do is you can use the built-in, say, MQTT client. And this uses a lot less data because you don't have this overhead, so it's going to be a little faster, a little less power, but you have to script each command in. So, for example, they have their own MQTT demo here. They have MQTT broker on beam.sorcom.io 183, which is MQTT port, and then you can connect to it, log in, and also automate it with PySerial. So this is like a shell script, a Python script that uses PySerial. You can see it connects to the serial port TTY USB 2, which is created when you plug it in, and it just sends in like the raw data to publish to a topic, and then you can then use their web interface to the MQTT broker to see the data was published. So again, if you don't want to use a full TCP/IP stack because you want to save power, you want to save bandwidth, there's nothing lighter than just sending the raw commands. I mean, this is like, it'll just do the bare minimum to send the data, connect, send the data, and disconnect right afterwards.
Available on DigiKey, as in like you can really actually get it. That's why this is MPI. And
They actually have a lot in stock, and again, the
yeah.
price is very good. It's like under $100, I think. And then we want to go to the overhead. So this is what it looks like. It's got this nice design. There's 2 antenna ports. You can connect to if you want to have external antenna, and then this is the SIM card that goes in there. So you can use any SIM card. They sell SIM cards. Indicator modem, and then this is just USB. So it's a very convenient, easy way, and so many electronic projects now are just a Raspberry Pi. You can attach whatever custom hardware or controller you want, and then with internet connectivity so complicated, you want something that has like a full Linux TCP/IP stack to handle connectivity for you and reconnection and certificates and whatever. And remote control, you just plug in this and now it's cellular connected.
Okay, I think in the blog post we'll embed that 3-minute long video, so folks can watch. There's a really good comprehensive
It's a good video, but we'll have it on the blog post because
we'll do
it's 3 minutes long and I've
Yeah.
rambled enough.
No, that's all good. And that's Eye on MPI.
Eye on MPI.
Okie dokie, before we roll into new products, Dakota's multiplexer. Use it or lose it. Let's do new products. You ready?
That's right. New.
All right, so first up, we got a revision.
That's right. We've been revising a lot of the combo packs. This is a beginner Gemma pack for doing Sobel electronics. It just gives you like one of everything. You can start with alligator clips and then upgrade to sewing with nice stainless steel conductive thread. Historically, we sold this with the Gemma V2, which used the AT Tiny 85. Sadly, the bit banging USB technique is really not guaranteed to work anymore. So we upgraded this to use the Gemma M0 instead, which is CircuitPython compatible, MakeCode compatible. You can use Arduino and has a ton more memory.
All right, update.
Okay, so this was the ultimate GPS bare module, which was product number 790. And the company that made this module, which was the PA6H, was made by G-Top. They got sold or something, and they basically stopped making the module, and it was sad. But we did find a alternative company that makes a 99% identical module. It's pin compatible. It's called the PA1616. It still uses the MTK 3339. It's the same physical size, again, the same pin out, same voltages, same firmware. The only difference is that the antenna querying commands are slightly different. And we weren't going to keep selling the module, but people were like, no, I use the module, I soldered the module into my designs. And so in addition to selling this on a breakout board, we're going to have the bare modules available as well.
Okay, next up.
All right, next up, we put in some adorable step switches a couple weeks ago. They're like 808 style, called the PB86. People love them, but they're not breadboard friendly. So what we did is I put together a quick breakout board that just kind of rearranges all the pins and also makes it so it can fit into a breadboard very nicely. And I thought I would show on the overhead. They do stack up side by side.
This is nice.
Half inch a piece, and then you can clicky. This is one of each color. You have to solder it in, but it's very easy. There's only 6 solder points, and then we give you header on both sides so that it sits nice and flat. And then you have, a couple breadboard rows available to connect the LED negative, the LED positive. You'll need a resistor as well. The normally closed connection, the normally open connection, and the common connection. So the switch has 3 contacts, the LED has 2, and then they're just duplicated on the other side. So you have 2 sets to make wiring easy, and then they just go side by side if you want. So perfect for prototyping with these adorable step switches.
All right, and then the star of the show tonight, besides you, Lady Ada, our team, all of our staff, all of our friends, all of our community, all of our customers, and everyone who makes this thing go is...
This is the PCA 9548 Stemma QT breakout. Yay! So we've had a TCA 9548 breakout for a very long time. But when Liz was working on the 8-channel laser harp, she connected up 8 distance sensors. She was like, man, I really wish there was a Stemma QT version of this multiplexer that I could just plug everything in. So what this board does, as you can see here, it's got 4 VCNL 4040s. If you are trying to connect I2C sensors, you know that every I2C sensor needs to have a unique address. And so sometimes there's an address jumper too, and like you can change the addresses, and you still have to make sure none of them collide. But there's sensors that don't have a configurable address, like I think the VCNL 4040 doesn't. And let's say you want to have multiple distance sensors because you're making a laser harp. What do? Well, this is a special chip. It's very inexpensive, and you have one port, and that's the one on the very left. That's the input port. And then when you send a special I2C command to address 70, it tells that chip to route the next I2C commands over to that port. So there's 8 ports, and so you can select which port you want to route to. And that basically lets you, without any special wiring, without any jumper pins or whatever, connect to 8 different devices with a very little amount of code that just, has to go in between when you want to select between the different ones. It works very well. We've got Arduino and CircuitPython code examples and Python examples. So let me show it on the overhead, because there's a couple other interesting things. So this is your controller. So your controller connects to here, and this is also the breakout for the controller side. And then there's 8 ports. You just have to keep track, like this is port 0 and this is port 5, because when you tell the 9548 chip which port you want, you have to tell it like port 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And in addition, what we did is let me just show a quick demo. So if you're using, and it has LEDs, so everything's lit. If you're using a 5-volt Arduino with Stemma QT, you might want to level shift the output. Like all of our boards have level shifters on them, but if you're using Quick or you made a DIY design, you might want to have 3-volt powered logic. So on board there is a 3-volt regulator with 500 milliamps output, level shifter, and then down here's a little switch that lets you select the logic output for these 8 ports. So even if this port's 5 volts, you can select these to be 3 volts just by flicking the switch back and forth. And this is 3 volts already, so you're not going to see any difference. But I thought there was we had a little bit of space left over, so I thought, why not add a level shifter? Another thing to note is this is the PCA 9548. And a lot of times these are called TCA 9548. And they're actually the same chip as long as you're using 3-volt or 5-volt power. The TCA can go down to 1.8 volts, but it's also very hard to get right now. The PCA 9548 is otherwise equivalent. It uses the exact same code. It's the exact same pinout. It just only goes down to like 2.3 volts minimum. So for this functionality, it's the same, just in case you're like, what's the difference between the PCA and the TCA? In this case, there is no difference. They are drop-in compatible. So this should make it really easy to make, projects that use a lot of different clones of the same board with the same address with one Stemma QT port and no soldering.
And that's the new products for the week.
Yay. New.
All right.
It's me, new.
Yeah, played by Chris Pratt. So multiplexer's the code. Now you know why. Use that or lose it by tomorrow. We're going to do some top secret. So go to Discord, start typing in your questions. I got a few lined up. But we're going to do some questions right after that. Let's do top secret from the vault.
Yes.
Here's this week's top secret. We have a video. All right, Lady Ada, what is this?
Hey, I'm testing out a little prototype I made. I showed this off on the last desk of Lady Ada. It's a Stemma JST PH, so you can connect like alligator clips or whatever, to infrared, both right angle. You can actually see this camera picks up a little bit of that purple infrared effect and also vertical, so you get both directions. And then I have it hooked up here to a Metro Mini, and you can see when there's hold on, wrong pin. A3. When an IR signal is sent out, this little LED goes off, and you can see it on the scope as well. And here's my final silkscreen design with Penguin, and I actually added a little slot. You can add an optional extra 5mm LED if you like. So this will be handy for making very powerful TV begons. Coming soon to the Adafruit shop.
You want to do more top secret? Or
I can show this. Yeah, I can show this stuff.
We got more top secret.
Okay. So got that board I just showed you off. It's our solderless infrared emitter, and it's got like the edge emitter, and it's got the top-down emitter. So that's kind of sweet. That should solve some people's infrared projects. And then I QTFI'd the Sci 5351A clock generator. We'll still sell our breakout because it has 3 SMA connectors, but this chip is no longer unavailable. You can now get it. Yay, Scilab. So a good way to celebrate that is to make a STEMMA QT board. This is my little green prototype.
Okay. It's time for questions. All right, it lines up. We're going to speed around these, Lady Ada, because we're going to get to a bunch of them.
Go for it.
Okay. Are there any RA8875 alternatives?
Not really. It's a one-of-a-kind chip, and it's probably going to be killed off real soon. I can tell that they're not going to be making it much longer.
Are there any waveform acquisition drivers for any of the Circuit Python targets?
I would use an RP2040 with PIO and try to funnel it into SRAM. Waveform acquisition is tough for any platform because you need to have a buffer big enough to store it. So if you you could probably do with PIO a parallel output ADC and a parallel input SRAM chip. You could probably automate the whole thing and have it run, maybe not 100 megahertz, but maybe 20 or 30 megahertz.
Okay. Next up, comment and an observation. Can you store extra earrings on the ear project for the phone case? Yeah, that's kind of useful. Next question, how many pins with the 16-pin PCA multiplexer with the new 8-port multiplexer? Is it 8 by 16? Is that the math that would do it?
Well, you can have 3 you'd have to make sure there's no address collections, but you can have up to 8-port multiplexers, and then I think they mean 16 GPIO expander, which is not a multiplexer, it's a different thing. So yeah, it would be 8 times 16 times 3 times 3. No, 8 times 8 times 16 times 8. So you do the math. It's long.
Okay. It's a fine structure constant, I think.
Yes.
Okay. PyLeap for Android, what is the status? Oh, we're working on it. So we usually do the iOS version first because that's what the most people are using, and then we get all of the features and things nailed that we want to do, but we do develop in parallel, and we're working in parallel. So when it's ready, you'll see an announcement on our site, and you'll be able to download and play with it, and it'll have pretty much feature for feature as the iOS version. When are you going to release the KB2040 Bluetooth? I want to untether my split keyboard. That's a good.
I don't know how. I mean, I know there's Bluetooth, per micros. I could design one, but I don't have any plans at this time.
Plans. Okay. I have a project that needs both Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Normally, the quick connection is for things like sensors. Can I connect 2 ESP TFT Featherwings with the I2C quick?
Well, I think you can do Bluetooth and Wi-Fi at the same time on the ESP32S2, so you may not even need to. You might be able to use it. I'm sure. I think there's one of the ESP boards you can use them at the same time.
Okay. And then when can we send more nudes? Those sold out fast, and we have a bunch more on the way. So we're doing something very specific with them. We have a very high bar for the quality that we like to see. There's ones that are available out there. They're not called nudes, of course. And they're crummy, and it is a little bit of a gamble, to quote some folks in the chat who've tried. So that's why we have to wait, because these are pretty good ones.
Yeah, they're being custom made.
They're being custom made, and we have QA, and we have a lot of things that...
we only want the highest quality nudes.
only...
We want nudes that we're proud of.
The best. Okay, let me see if there's other questions that we can get. alternatives. Got that. The multiplexer would be awesome with multiple I2C OLED displays.
Yeah.
That'd be kind
You
of
do
cute. And that is the questions
Okay.
of the week.
We're
Lady
on
Ada.
time. We're at 9.
Yeah, pretty much.
9:07.
Okay. Special thanks to the community here, everyone in the chat. Thanks for asking great questions and hanging out with us tonight. Special thanks to Takara behind the scenes and the Adafruit Slack doing a bunch of stuff. And then our entire team who helps put the show together and all the things to make us go. This has been an Adafruit production. We'll see everybody next week on Ask an Engineer. This is your moment of Zener. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.